So this tube will hold 5 rounds, and plus one, meaning you can have one loaded into the chamber if you choose to do so. Now this is chambered for 3-inch shells, meaning that there's a variety of shotgun shells out there, but common sizes are going to be your 3.5-inch shell, which is like the biggest shell, I believe. Then you have 3-inch, then you have a very common 12-gauge size, which is 2 3/4 inches. That's what most people are going to use, 2 3/4-inch buckshot to be exact. That's what the average household that has a shotgun for self-defense is loaded with. So it's nice to know you can load this up with 3-inch shells, like 3-inch magnums pack a massive, massive punch. So if you choose to do that, it will accept those ammunitions. So, but 2 3/4 shells are about the average. There are a lot of novelty rounds on the market. In fact, gun websites did a video months ago, maybe even last year, on 1-inch, I believe it was 1 or 1.5-inch shotgun shells, which I still really want because you can really load up on capacity. They seem very cool. But anyway, what else can I say about this gun? The breacher tip, let's talk about that for a minute. All right, it has a breacher style muzzle brake. Now you'll see all these serrations on the tip. These are very sharp, okay? In fact, if I just smack it like that, that hurts. It hurts my hand, it irritates it. You can probably see, if I push in, you can see the marks on my hand. But it's not, its main purpose is to keep stability when you jam it into a wood door, and the purpose being to blow off locks on doors for breaching. All right, so if you're a SWAT team or some kind of a tactical person and you need to enter someone's house and the doors are all locked up or barricaded, jam this into the door right where the lock is, or the deadbolt, whatever. Pull the trigger. You got ammo loaded specifically for this purpose, and you're just going to basically blow that out of the door, and that will allow you to kick the door in and enter the house or building or whatever. That's its main purpose. However, it is sharp. So if you're in a situation where either you run out of ammo or you're rounding a corner somewhere and someone is just like right there in your face, you're like, you're just surprised. If you were to give this a very good jam into someone's eyeball or their forehead or their jaw, there would be an extreme amount of pain. It is very, very effective at being a self-defense weapon within itself. That will buy you just that couple, split seconds to pull back, assess the situation. If you need to, pull the trigger for more lethal force. But let's say you don't want to use lethal force. Maybe someone broke in your home and they have a knife, and maybe they're really stupid. First of all, they're stupid for breaking into your house, but maybe they're a little extra stupid, and they go, come on, man, and they see you have a shotgun here. Most people would just shoot them, but maybe you don't want to shoot them. Maybe morally you don't want to kill someone, whatever the reason. You can definitely use a shotgun in a very non-lethal manner by just stabbing him and hitting him. Of course, you can use any gun, and just like a baseball bat, It is a heavy piece of metal. It will be very effective at that. But it's just a cool option, and if nothing else at all, it looks awesome. Absolutely awesome. Very cool. Between this tip and the pistol grip, this is just a sexy looking gun. It really is. I fell in love with this whole thing. Once I put the pistol grip on here, I'm like, that is it. That's my perfect shotgun. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's very, very reliable. The Mossberg 500 models, and there's lots of them out there. P.S. This specific model is no longer on Mossberg's website. They've replaced it with like a camo pattern. It's called like a turkey something or other. But you can find these plenty of places that still have them in stock. It's basically new old stock. It's an older model, but a lot of places will still carry it. And you're looking at about $300 to $400 for these brand new. More on the low 300 side, like 320, 330. That's going to be an average price for this. But I was saying before, it's very reliable, extremely popular. I've never had a problem. In fact, a lot of police forces do have purchased, these Mossberg 500 models, specifically like the 590s too, as well as the 500s. But it just works. I have over 500 rounds to this gun. I'm pushing like 700 rounds, but most of those, at least 500 that I know of, are all number 7 birdshot from Walmart. When I first got this gun, it was just the cheapest, most affordable option shoot. It was also much less kick, having that number 7. But I have shot a couple boxes of 3-inch Magnum slugs out of this, and it does pack a punch. I want to talk about specifically pistol grip shotguns in general. A lot of people don't like them because they don't have the maneuverability. They happen to think that if you have a pistol grip shotgun, that you're stuck shooting like this. and you can no longer aim, okay? It's the spray and pray kind of a deal, where basically you're hip shooting, and you have to hope that you're kind of aiming in the right direction. It's not necessarily the case. In fact, I have videos of me shooting this and actually aiming. Now, when you aim this gun, you don't do this, obviously, okay? It is harder, it's not easy by any means to support the gun out, and you have to keep it away from yourself, so when you do shoot, it will jolt. You don't want to break your teeth, you don't want to break your nose, okay? It will give you a good jolt, and it's not as comfortable, but you can certainly point this down range and aim, okay? It's just not ideal. If I was in my home using this as its intended purpose for self-defense, most likely I would be about mid-chest level, okay? And I know you really can't see that, but I would hold it, basically lock my, kind of get my little broken chicken wing going on, and lock it like this, and then shoot it like this, okay? It wouldn't be hip shooting, it wouldn't be aiming, it would be mid-chest area. This gives me a very good idea as to where I'm pointing this, and it's basically point and shoot. I'm not using the sight. Now, speaking of the sight, this gun came with this white dot sight. It's not a night sight or anything, and you can see that it swivels, okay? I had never done anything with this sight since I got the gun new. It's always been loose like that, okay? So that's not a good thing. I think it's just quality control. Mossberg must have forgot to Loctite or something. Not a big deal. In fact, I'll throw a little Loctite on this when I'm done with the video. But it's a no-frills sight. You can change this out with something else. If you want like a brass bead or something completely different, you can certainly do so, which is pretty cool. All these Mossberg 500 models, they are tapped for a rail. If you want to throw a rail on there and put some kind of an optic, perhaps a red dot sight would be pretty ideal. You're certainly not going to be putting a scope on this gun. It's not meant for it. Lots of shotguns out there. This is not a hunting gun, not in my opinion anyway. And let's talk more about that. This does have a smooth bore barrel, okay? Meaning there's no rifling in this barrel. Now, I think rifled barrels on shotguns are more dedicated towards hunting shotguns. A smooth bore barrel is definitely more versatile. Therefore, again, we're going on the same theme of defense. I can shoot pretty much whatever I want in this. Okay, any kind of 12 gauge load minus a 3.5 inch shell, because that will not chamber properly, or if at all. So the gun is it's an awesome gun. It's quality, it's affordable. I can't believe that this is only like a $330 gun, brand new.